Ready, Mr. Nelson?
We are, Your Honor.
All right. We're here in case number 596104, State of Ohio versus Iris Rosman. She's present in court today with her attorney, Mr. Michael Nelson. Present from the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office is Assistant Prosecuting Attorney, Mr. Jonathan Block. We're here today for purposes of sentencing. Oh, I got the wrong report. Ms. Rosman pled guilty back on November 5th, 2015 to count 2, riot and misdemeanor of the first degree. At the time of her plea, I did order a pre-sentence report. I have had an opportunity to review that report. Mr. Nelson, have you had an opportunity to review that report, and did you find it to be accurate?
I did, Your Honor, and shared the appropriate conclusions with the complaint.
All right. And Mr. Block, have you had an opportunity to review the report, and did you find it to be accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. On behalf of the State of Ohio, is there anything you'd like to say? Well, you know what, I do want to make a change to the report. For some reason, the probation department indicated that the prosecutor on the report was Deanna Robertson, which we all know is wrong. She's an attorney to a different co-defendant. So you were the prosecutor on the report, right, Mr. Black?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So the report is amended to reflect that. All right. Mr. Black.
Thank you, Your Honor, and thank you for that correction. Again, just briefly, Your Honor, the court is well aware of not only the facts and circumstances in this case, but as well Ms. Rosman's record. The state would submit that Ms. Rosman has similar offenses to Mr. Brucey, where it seems to be driven by protests that go just a little bit too far. With that being said, Your Honor, to reiterate just again briefly the facts, the reason Ms. Rosman is here is not because she chose to protest and use her First Amendment right, Your Honor. She is before the court because she decided to interfere in the apprehension of a suspect of a felonious assault. With that being said, Your Honor, the state would defer to the court for sentencing.
Okay. Mr. Nelson?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I respect the prosecutor. I respect the process that we engaged in. My client, however, contrary to those statements, was in fact exercising her constitutional rights. To be candid, Your Honor, my client, as well known to all that have been familiar with this case, entered the plea primarily because of the package that was provided in order to actually allow for one of the other suspects to get a less serious charge. When we looked at the documentation, Ms. Rosman, in fact, had she gone to trial, we would have fought this case tooth and nail. She, however, does accept the circumstances of her plea. At this time, Your Honor, we would like the court to take into consideration, looking at the totality of the circumstances, she was not interfering. She was really just standing there. There were other parties who were actually involved in activity with respect to this arrest. In fact, the only person that was really interfering was an officer in a white shirt, a supervisor who was actually reaching over Ms. Rosman, snatching somebody in front of her. Ms. Rosman did get caught up in the tumult that was going on and was involved in that way. She did nothing affirmative. We would ask, Your Honor, that in looking at the fact that, yes, she is very passionate about the right to protest and is very offended by the actions of the police department specifically related to the Brelo case. And yes, she does admit that she is enthusiastic about defending those rights and making sure that people understand that the justice system, in her estimation, is imbalanced. She does not deny that. We would ask the court to take into consideration her motivation for being involved, her willingness to abbreviate what could be a long, drawn-out trial by admitting to and accepting what has been described as an adequate plea bargain and resolution in this case. Your Honor, she would probably request her own opportunity to speak, but we'd ask the court in its broad range of punishments that it would look at the least restrictive punishment, and we would ask for it to be a brief probation, if any, something unsupervised, Your Honor, and that her respect for the laws and rules of this government that she holds that in high regard and understands that in this great republic that she's allowed to do the things she's doing because she exists in a country where the Constitution is paramount and respected. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Rosman, do you want to say anything?
Yes. Well, first of all, I would like to use male pronouns because I identify as transgender and use the name Rose. But going from that, so I was arrested with Jeremy and Julius and 70 others on May 23rd for completely unjust charges and arrests. We were arrested for standing up against police brutality, which everybody should do because we have the right to do such. We have the right to gather. We have the right for freedom of speech, which yes, we have, but obviously in our cases that wasn't really looked at and regarded. And so we took to the streets because Brelo should be charged. He stood on the hood of a car and fired bullets and reloaded twice into 2 innocent people. For what? Their car backfired and then that led to a car chase? 137 shots, murdering these 2 people in cold blood. It happens every day, what, more than like 3 times a day now that people are murdered by police. And I took to the streets to stand up against that because not only is our police and our law enforcement broken, this whole system is broken and people need to stand up against that. And what is happening right now is completely unjust that I am charged for something, for standing up for those people, for standing up for those lives that have been stolen. And yet Brelo has faced no time. I have done more time than all of these cops tied together across this whole country that have murdered people. I've done more time than Brelo. I was in jail for 3.5 days and Brelo has had no time. And so that is completely, that's bullshit. I'm gonna say that, that is bullshit that I have to do time and all these other people have to do time, whereas cops can just walk free and get away with murdering people. If it was anybody else that wasn't an officer, that didn't have a badge, that had this whole system backing them up, they would be in jail right now.
All right. So, Mr. Nelson, my records don't indicate that she was in jail, but that doesn't mean she wasn't. So, were you arrested on May 23rd?
Yes.
And do you know when you were released?
3.5 days later.
Through municipal court.
What's that?
Through municipal court.
Yeah. Usually they put it up on the screen, but I don't have it in this case. 180 days, 176 days are suspended. Credit for time served from May 23rd to May 27th, 2015. $1,000 fine. The fine is suspended. Sentence is satisfied. You're finished.
Thank you.
Yep. Indiana.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Deanna gets here.
She was in the hallway.
Okay.
Tried to give her a heads up when we came back in here.
See you later. Thanks. No cell phones. No video. No. You cannot do that in here. Oh, right. I appreciate that too.
Drink in front of your own to see. I'm just bringing up. Done. But he's here. He's
on the record there?
No,